Hello, 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 and welcome everyone back to
The Cancer Sucks podcast. Cancer still sucks.
dang it. Maybe next week, but
But remember,
probably not.
Adrian, your
Let's
life
be
doesn't
honest.
have to. That's the important part of this.
That indeed is the important part. Your life does not have to, and you have shown week over week that that is true. So thank you for that.
Of course. What are we talking about today, by the way?
Yeah, so today's episode is another really exciting, fun one. This is part 2 in our, let's say, Caregiver series. Last time, if you guys listened, and if you didn't, pause this right now, go listen to that. We had Jay's lovely, wonderful sister, Julie, on to just share so many amazing, vulnerable thoughts and feelings and advice. It was awesome. It was such a great conversation. So today we have part 2 of that, where, again, we're really emphasizing the caregivers' perspectives, what they face and go through, and kind of giving a different POV. We hear from Jay, we hear his weekly updates, what he's going through as the patient. But as we all know, cancer affects so many more people than just the patients. So Jay is our lovely, or actually I should say, who are our lovely guests today?
We actually have 2 guests today, and I feel so blessed to actually have them here in person because they live in the Midwest. They live in Ohio. We have my oldest son, Brantley, and his beautiful wife, Savannah, joining us to talk
Woohoo!
their perspective. And certainly, it is an interesting perspective when it's, one of your children that are faced with one of their parents going through a disease like cancer. And so we'll be able to get Brantley's perspective on that. And as you may recall, we had an episode where we talked about Brantley, who just had graduated Fire Academy. So proud of him. So he is a firefighter in Cleveland, Ohio, and is also in the Air Force Reserve as well. I'm sure he'll talk a little bit about that, but serving others is something he's always wanted to do. And I'm so proud of him for that. And he's done such a great job. And we just love Savannah. We treat her just like another daughter. She's amazing.
Aw.
And they both met at Ohio State working on her undergrad degree. So it's been nice. And she actually grew up in Cleveland with her family. And so we have a good time when we go back. And they recently, of course, had a beautiful son named Camden, our grandson. So much fun with him. This is his first time visiting to California. And again, we're recording this over Easter weekend. So they're in for Easter. So we're going to be doing an Easter egg hunt this weekend.
Ooh,
So
that
excited.
sounds so
We haven't done one of those in a
fun.
while. So this will be good.
That'll be so nice to have your family there and doing that. Oh, I love
Exactly.
it. What an awesome weekend. And I'm so grateful that we get them on the show. So, yeah, without further ado, why don't we go grab our special guests?
You got it. You
Perfect.
can move everybody in, packing them in like sardines.
Yeah, we are.
Next victims.
Okay, first of all, it's so good to see you guys. Thank you for doing this. And as you listeners know, this is part 2 of the family members POV. So welcome to the show, guys. It's going to be, great conversation. And I have so many questions especially for you, Brantley, about your Fire Academy graduation. Congratulations. You are official. That's so cool. We did a whole episode talking a lot about that. And so we'll get there, but I just can't wait to hear more about that. I could never. So you're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. But I just want to start with kind of grounding everyone into understanding your guys' relationship, all of you. So we obviously have father, son, and then Savannah, who married into this lovely, beautiful family. So I want to ask, how would you guys both, I guess, describe your relationship with Jay before all of this? So what was it like, and how has kind of going through this changed that at all? Or has it changed it at all?
I guess I'll start since this is obviously my dad.
Mhm.
I think my dad's kind of always been a role model for me. He's always been somebody that has always worked hard and provided for our family. I don't think that really changed when he got sick. If anything, I think I appreciated even more to see what he went through and still worked so hard to make sure that his family was taken care for. Everything was provided to us, still the same opportunities, even though that we're older now and kind of having our own families. But it was very humbling and it gave me a lot of strength going through anything that I need to go through. Like you talked about the Fire Academy. I thought about him a lot during it And I always thought, like, if he's going through what he's going through and still juggling all his different contract work and jobs, I can definitely get through a few more push-ups. I can definitely get through whatever I'm going through.
Yes.
Because for me, I know there's an end. Like, there's an end for him. It's the fight of his life and it's taking care of the family. So
Yeah.
that has never changed for me. The inspiration that my dad has given me, if anything, it just shined the light on it even more.
Wow. I just got chills from you saying that. I just have to say that's such, I feel like I think about that all the time too. Just anytime I think something's hard, I think of Jay and I remember, nope, this isn't hard at all. I'm fine. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Let me be more like Jay. What would Jay do? No, that's so beautiful. I love that. And Savannah, for you, what has it been like marrying into this family and obviously kind of having to deal with something so heavy like this and being the supporter on that side of things?
Yeah, so it has been, I mean, it's definitely been challenging on our side. It's not as challenging as, like Brantley mentioned, the fight that Jay's having, but it really has been a very unique opportunity for me. I'm lucky to work from home. So when he got diagnosed, me and Brantley had a conversation. We were picking up sushi for everyone. We were right outside the sushi place, and we just kind of said, whatever we need to do, we can do. If we need to move out here, we can. I have the flexibility that I can keep working. If you need to stop working, you can. Like, we are all in on this, and whatever we can do to help, that's what we're going to be here for. And so we did have the opportunity of moving out here for the most part, and it was amazing to be able to provide that support. I know for me, I had almost a helpless feeling because I'm not, I mean, I am a member of the family, but I'm not the blood side of the family. So for me, I wanted to make sure I could provide any support that I knew how to. So that was, I can help cook, I can help clean, let me go to the grocery store, any of the household things that I could take off people's plates. That's what I tried to do. And just kind of be that constant of, okay, I have food on the table. Let's all make sure we're eating dinner. Really,
Wow.
that's what my contribution was, I guess.
No, that's amazing.
Very thankful to have both of them come out here, and Savannah did so much to help, and again, it's you can imagine challenging. You're just kind of joining this family and suddenly you're just jumping in and doing,
Jumping right in.
and it really just, it meant so much to us. And, as I said during the intro, Savannah quickly just felt like a daughter to us that we never had. And I still
Yeah.
feel that way. And it's been nice welcoming her into the family. And she comes from an
Yeah.
amazing family as well. And so it's really nice. And obviously it's tough having them live so far away, especially with our grandson now, but it just makes it so nice when we get to travel and see them. And obviously having
Mhm.
them here for Easter is awesome as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Jay's Village. So obviously you guys, everything you've done,
Amazing
Savannah,
village.
like, yeah, I mean, what a lucky man you are, Jay. Don't ever forget it.
Very much so.
No, I'm so glad you guys were able to spend some time. And I wanted to ask you to kind of, when it does come to ultimately having a home base a little bit further away, like, are you ever torn between, because you are living still away. You're not living here, right? Right.
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever feel kind of torn when you are back there between, that life and you're starting your family and you're grounding yourself in your new job and all of that versus kind of feeling pulled to want to spend more time here or be here at this phase in life?
I would say yes, definitely, especially in the beginning. The beginning was the shock and awe because it kind of just this happened out of nowhere. And like Savannah
Mhm.
said, we dropped everything and came out here, and we were out here for I think the first bout maybe a month or two,
Yeah.
and then we went home back to Cleveland, maybe for a few weeks, and then we were out here again for 3 months maybe, and then I think we went back home again for a little bit, and then we were out here for several months after that with my dad's surgery. So those
Mhm.
were all the sacrifices that we were able to do. Savannah, again, was working at home. I was doing some contract work and also working remotely, so we were able to do that, which we were so thankful for. But every single time, especially in the beginning, and I'll touch on why it was mainly at the beginning versus now. But at the beginning, there were so many unknowns. We didn't know what
Mhm.
was going to happen. We didn't know reactions to chemo. We didn't know a surgery was possible. and, how in depth the surgery was going to be. So again, the beginning was rough. Anytime I was home, I was like, I just need to be back out there because we helped with the cooking, the cleaning, the maintaining the house, the doctor's appointments, the dogs, everything that we could, we would do. And then being at home, for me, it was hard to focus on anything else versus just being out there. So fast forward
Yeah.
now a little bit into we kind of, I don't know any other word to say besides like almost a routine for dad to have chemo every 2 weeks. Granted, his levels are fine and everything that he can get chemo, but it's still hard being away. But I think him being able to work again, my mom's been helping out a lot too. I think it's eased the anxiety of a little bit being away,
Mhm.
but still, when we're at home, we're always thinking of them and always trying to see when we can come out
Yeah.
again. Again, this is an Easter episode, Easter time. We're thankful
Mhm.
enough to be
Yeah.
able to come out here and visit them and spend, a couple days out here with them.
Absolutely. You bring up such a great point that I hadn't considered, which is that unknown element and how at the beginning everything is so new and so shocking and you have no idea what the game plan is and everyone's trying to figure it out. And so that totally makes sense that at the beginning you just wanted to drop everything, be where you could be. And now, yeah, as unfortunate as the routine is, there is a bit of a routine. And I totally get that. And speaking of the beginning, just for a moment, if you don't mind sharing, I know these are all very raw, vulnerable conversations, but I was curious, where were you and like how did that initial kind of finding out about this diagnosis go and feel and how did you react? And was that conversation outside the sushi restaurant? Was that when you actually found out the diagnosis? It was that immediate or what was that situation like?
So I'll go first and then Savannah can go after me. It was actually around her brother's wedding as well. I think her brother's wedding was July 8th. So it was a few days before that. And we were planning on going to their wedding. And we just heard that my dad, turned jaundice. He was in the hospital, but we didn't initially know what it was, but we figured something wasn't right when something like that
Mhm.
happened. So again, we dropped everything and flew out there. And that's when we found out
Right.
when we got out there, going upstairs at the hospital, it was oncology, and we kind of put it all together what was happening at that moment.
Yeah, so
So
very similar. For me, the moment that we were told that he was admitted to the hospital, I just had this really sinking feeling it was not okay. That was when I immediately actually started looking at flights and we live about 10 minutes from the airport. So I was like, we can leave in 20 minutes. Like we can get on a plane right now. And so Brantley kind of told me, pump the brakes a minute. Let's focus on, okay, what can we do? What do we need to do?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, we were on a flight the next day and got out here. It was definitely a shock still. The walking onto the oncology floor, had an idea of what we were getting into, but the actual diagnosis still was quite difficult to hear. It was great that we were all together to hear it. If we would have heard it in the sushi restaurant parking lot or by ourselves at home, we would have had much more of that helpless feeling. It was much more reassuring to be together, to be able to
Yeah.
share that moment. But I mean, it definitely didn't make the news any easier, but it definitely
Yeah.
helped us to be together in that moment.
Absolutely. Jay, what did it feel like for you in that moment? I don't know if I've ever actually asked you this because you were there and it's about you and you're now having to see your whole family find out this horrible thing. What was
Sure.
that like for you?
Well, it was hard on a couple of levels. I mean, obviously, when you hear news like that, that's impacting you. But my mind immediately went to the family and to my kids, and specifically to the kids because I remember with my own dad when I heard that news. My dad fought cancer twice. Unfortunately, got him the third time, but the first time I was about 7 years old and I didn't really understand what was going on. Second time, he had melanoma, which was
Mhm.
really no one was giving him a shot. He did some experimental clinical trials at the University of Michigan that fortunately saved him. But I was 12 and was very much aware at the time what was going on and actually had to move in with my grandparents, my sister and I for several weeks while he was getting treatment. And so my mind immediately went to that feeling I remember as a child hearing the
Mm.
news about your dad, and it doesn't matter what
Mhm.
age you are, it's still a kick. And certainly, I think even the father-son bond when you hear that with your dad. So it was hard because I was obviously trying to process it myself in terms of what I needed to do, but also wanted to be strong for the family and was very thankful. I mean, all came in, they were concerned, and it really meant a lot to me. And as you know, Adrian, I think everyone knows me well enough. I always try to find the silver lining in everything. And I think in this instance, the silver lining honestly was I probably have gotten to spend a lot more time with my kids that are out of state and their spouses than I ever would have had I not been sick. And again, it's a terrible thing that when you have to get sick, but that blessing of that extra time has really been very special to me. And I appreciate, and what Savannah didn't say, and I appreciate so much for her, she does work remotely, but she works on East Coast hours. So when she comes out here to the West Coast, she's starting work at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah.
Really, really tough on her, but never heard her complain, not once. She was just happy to do it. And it just really meant so much to me. Again, this is a brand new family member who doesn't really know the family that well yet. And yet she just, without even thinking, that unconditional love just jumped right in. And it really meant so much to all of us and was just really a huge help having them both here.
You guys are amazing. And it sounds like you find amazing spouses and partners as well.
They do.
Your girl is single. So if you know anyone who is equally as amazing now.
Adrian, I have said this before, Kathy and I, all the time. I mean, with our kids, we could not have handpicked better spouses for them. All of them. I mean, it's really amazing to me. And I always joke with her and go, we must have done something right because they're all just amazing and just so loving. And we're just so happy to have them all in the family. And they all get along so great together as well. I mean, it's always been like it's just one big family. And again, you don't always hear that, especially from a parent's perspective, but we could not be happier with all the spouses that kids ended up with. And so we've been very thankful for that.
I love that. No, that's incredible. And now I really want to touch on kind of your guys' personalities in terms of this. Let's get back to the fire academy thing and being a firefighter. So I was told by a little birdie that Savannah, you actually have family members, lots of family members, right, who were firefighters or paramedics or, people who are willing to basically put themselves in harm's way to save others. And I would love to talk to both of you about this. We found it to be such a compelling conversation, the similarities and differences between facing mortality and danger in a way like you are now with this new career and like your family members have, Savannah, versus facing mortality and danger with a health scare, something you can't control. So first of all, Brantley, how the heck did you decide that this was the path you're going to go down? Savannah, did you have any sway in that, or how did that happen? I need to get back to the basics here.
Yeah, so I would say when I first started going to college, the community college, there was a fire science program. And really what attracted me to it was challenging. It was kind of in my personality, but they have a lot of days off too. So, I mean, a lot of firefighters do other jobs on top of firefighting. And that, again, watching how my dad, did his career, he always juggled multiple jobs and kind of just fell into that suit as well. I like to stay busy too. So I started taking some classes at the community college, thought it was interesting here in LA. And I was told, hey, you're only 20 years old. It is super competitive to get on. You need to go do something else in life and then come back to this and, maybe you'll have a shot. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I want to go to the best, college that I can go to. And this is a plug, but I'm proud of it. So I went to the Ohio State University after that.
Let's go.
And there I actually met Savannah and we obviously kicked it off and we became really good friends. And now she's my wife, but her family is, almost every male in the family is a first responder, either a firefighter or police officer. So the famous quote I always heard was, Brantley, just take the test. Just take the test.
That's so good.
Just take the test, take the fire test. We think you'll like it. You fit in the mold with those guys. So on my third time taking the Cleveland fire test, I was finally accepted. And I went through the academy from April 14th through September 10th of 2025. So I'm still brand
Amazing.
new, but the career has been
Yeah.
great so far. The calls have been great. The guys have been all fantastic working with. I like working for a city department. It's been awesome so far. But
That's amazing.
Savannah's family definitely contribute to that quite
I
largely.
could see that. I could see that totally. And so when it comes to obviously choosing to be a first responder, which thank you so much for your service now and in the future, and all of your family members, Savannah. When it comes to knowing that you are in a higher risk job and a job that can be dangerous and there are risks associated, how does, first of all, what is your overall thought process about that? How have you kind of dealt with that? Do you think about that? Is that something you're attracted to? But then also now with your dad's illness and him having to face obviously mortality, the potential of all these dangers, what is the connection there? How is it like either helped or done the opposite when it comes to kind of thinking about your dad's situation?
So for me, with the training that we had in the academy, and obviously having a resource like Savannah's family that I'm able to talk to and lean on so much, along with Cleveland, we have about 750 firefighters, I believe. It is like a brotherhood. When you go through that
Mhm.
academy, you gain confidence with the objectives and the physical fitness and any mentally doing the EMT stuff was very hard for me. But put in those situations, like I felt like I bonded very well with a lot of those guys and we all have each other's backs.
Yeah.
When we go on calls, I really don't think about the mortality of anything because I'm with my guys. We're just trying to solve whatever problem it is that's right in front of us, whether that's
Mhm.
medical, fire, citizen assist, a car accident. And as we're going to a call, we may be talking, joking, but in my head, I'm trying to play out what I'm going to be doing when I arrive on scene. Because we have
Mhm.
information, but it's definitely not a lot of information that we
Mhm.
receive. So once we get there, we kind of have to put the pieces together, and that relies a lot on the bosses, the lieutenants, the captains, the chief, if he's there too. But I really don't think about it a lot. The only thing I think about with my own mortality on the fire department is obviously cancer is a big scare for a lot of firemen.
Mhm.
And I will say it's a hard conversation for us even all to have because we know it's there. We know the risks are way greater for our profession. And a lot of us don't like to talk about it because we enjoy the job. We love our families. We like hanging out with our friends. We want to live, a good life. And all those days that we have off or trades that we make that we can take vacation and enjoy ourselves, we want to enjoy those. So it's something, again, I'm 6 months on, I'm still brand new, but it's something that I think we don't like to discuss a lot because we know the risk is there. And I would say for me, that's the only time I really think about getting sick or mortality or something. And it's not even at the firehouse. It's the days that
Mhm.
are off that I'm thinking about it. But we all try to take the best precautions that we can, shower after a fire. Almost all of our stations have saunas now that we can sweat out any bad chemicals that we're exposed
Mhm.
to. We have
Mhm.
these industrial size washers that are called extractors that we can take our turnout gear apart, throw them in there, and it's supposed to
Mm.
suck out the carcinogens out of our gear. So we tried to do all those things to lower the
Mhm.
risk for us. Having my dad sick, and again, he's talked about the track record with our family, whether it is, family history or exposures like my grandpa, those risks are all there and it's something in the back of our head. But really
Yeah.
try not to think about it too much and just keep on doing the job that a lot of us love to do.
Wow. It's so impressive, and that is probably the best, healthiest way to handle it. So it's awesome that that's kind of your mentality, and whether you're choosing that or not, I totally understand. There's so much happening when you're on that job, and you kind of got to stay in that moment, which is probably helpful. Again, like I'm just so impressed because man, I just don't think I'd ever be cut out for a job like that. And I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with all of you guys. I am a mental basket case. Very impressed, very and so grateful. Like, obviously, we need these people who are brave like you. So that's incredible. You also brought up something that I did not know or think about. I mean, now that you say it, the cancer risk and the exposure to chemicals, now that you say it, I'm like, wait, duh. But I did not think about that. And that is a whole element that also exists with that just only adds to it. Savannah, having been around so many men who have chosen this path, first of all, do you ever worry about, the dangers? Or have you gotten used to it, or both? Do you worry and you're used to it? Like, are you okay? Because again, I would not be, and I must know the real feeling there. I would be beside myself probably, but I also didn't grow up with it, so I would love to hear your take.
Yeah. Very good question. It's yes to all of the above, I would say. So I definitely have gotten used to it. My dad is a Cleveland firefighter. He has been on since 1994. I was born in 96, so it's been a part of my entire life. As it's been stated, many of my family members, I have a younger brother who's on the Cleveland Fire Department with Brantley and my father. My older brother is in Columbus, Ohio on the fire department. I have a couple cousins and an uncle that's also on the fire department. So it definitely is more of a routine for me and it is more normal. And then the other uncles, for the most part, are police officers if they're not firefighters. So there is a lot of normalization of that worry, but at the same time, it is still the most concerning thing to me. Every single day, I have someone working on shift. My dad is on a different shift, my brother's on a different shift, and then Brantley's on a different shift. So every single day, a member from my family is putting their life on the line to support the citizens of Cleveland, Ohio, and other cities as well. So for me, it is something I've gotten used to, but every single day I say a prayer because I know there's some family member that is out there that is putting their life on the line to help support other people that are having the worst days of their life. So it is an incredible thing. I absolutely could not do it either. I physically am not capable, and I don't know that mentally I would be capable either. But I try to put that aside. I know that they're doing it for the better of others. And so I always say a prayer. And, it is really difficult when there's news articles or things that come out about a firefighter being injured or a nasty fire in the area, because I know there's people that we know that are working on that, or it could be them. A more specific scenario in the academy, I know it was brought up in the last podcast about the cadet that passed away. His last name was also Williams. And when it happened, my dad, this is kind of hard to talk about, my dad called and he was like, "You're going to hear about a Cadet Williams, and it's not Brantley."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was really hard.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that's what they do every day. Luckily, like I said, it wasn't Brantley. It still was someone that he was very close with. It was still a really difficult time, but it was really reassuring to know that I have people that are on that side that can give me a little bit of insight before the news breaks and before.
Absolutely.
So it's a hard thing, but it's I'm so proud of them. I'm so happy that they get the opportunity to do this every single day. And it's always something that's there in the back of your mind.
Absolutely. It's so admirable what they're all doing. And I think you described that so perfectly. I can really envision what that's like because, you kind of got it all. You're constantly thinking about it, but you're also used to it, which must be at least the better of the situations that it could be. And for both of you, how has this part of your life, the firefighters, first responders in your life, Savannah, and for you, Brantley, now joining that, how has it kind of shaped at all the way that you are viewing your dad's battle and, the mentality there? Or what are the similarities, or has it helped you through that at all? Is it connected at all? Or is that just me kind of making a connection? Maybe it's not related, but what is that like for you?
Yeah, I would say, again, the bonds that you make through the fire academy, and especially that those are 30 something, people that you're with in the academy, not including the instructors or the chief that are there. But once you get out, you're again with 750 other firefighters for the city of Cleveland that all of a sudden are your brothers and sisters and they're there with you. So if anything, it's been nothing but positive. I don't know, I am at my first duty station. They call it the first move. So I'm at my first fire station. We do 3 different moves over 3 years for an apprenticeship, and then we're assigned our final station. But I've gotten close to the ones at my particular fire station. So some of them know of my situation with my dad and, how he's sick and everything. But regardless, I've heard that so many other firefighters have your back. No matter what you're going through, it could be an illness in a family, yourself, maybe your kids are just being bratty and they're just there to talk to you about it. whatever it may be, they're all there for you.
Mhm.
So if anything, it's been nothing but positive knowing that I have so many more people that are there for me
Mm.
to help me out in this situation.
Mhm.
Nothing but positivity coming out of the academy and getting onto the streets and meeting so many great people so far and learning about this situation. This podcast is going to help out a lot too, to
Yeah.
reach many, many different people in our city and, throughout the US too.
That's a great thing that you have now. And Jay talks all the time about the importance of having your village. And I didn't even think about it that way, that you
Yep.
now also, and both of you have your village, and it is now expanded by so many people. And that only helps you get through things. Jay, how happy are you that he has that and that they have each other and that their village is building?
Well, look, as a parent, all you want is the best for your kids. I mean, that's what's always driven me. I want them to have a better life than I had, and I had an amazing, life here, and
Mhm.
hope that continues for a long time to come. And so I'm very, very thankful that he does have that village and that support because really, regardless of what you do in life, that support is important for all of us. We're not meant to go through life alone. We're really not.
Mm-mm.
And, when you are dealing with things, like first responders deal with, like our military deal with, it's very important that you be able to have people that have similar backgrounds that can relate and understand that. Just like with the battle with cancer or whatever disease you might have, that relatability, that village, as I like to talk about, is really important. That kind of support can really help carry you through even the bad days. And we all have bad days, including me. I know you don't believe me, Adrian,
Okay, fine. I believe you.
but it's nice when you have that level of support because sometimes you can't pick yourself up, but you've got others that are there to pick you up along the way. And
Mhm.
that matters and that helps so much because, the next day is a new day and you're going to have that strength again. But sometimes you just need to get through that one day, and that's so important. And I am so thankful that Brantley has that level of support. I was very thankful when I found out what he was doing and knowing that Savannah's family were very involved. And so I knew he was going to be just fine. And of course, I worry. I mean, there are times I set up and I listen to the Cleveland fire scanner at night
Yeah.
here over the internet,
Hey,
just trying to see what's
what's
happening.
going on?
But we're so proud of him, and I think
Yeah.
it's just such a selfless thing when you put others before you, and clearly that's what
Mhm.
first responders do, and I gave you the
Oh, yeah.
analogy, we grow up knowing that when something's on fire, we run away from it. These guys run into it, and that's all you need to know. And we saw
Literally.
that with 9/11. We've seen it time and time again, and those people are so incredibly brave, and I would say that with our military, with our policemen as well. Thank goodness for them, because I can't
Yeah,
imagine a society without people like that are willing to do it.
I know.
I don't know how they do it. I certainly never the job I had, my job was to entertain people. I wasn't worried about mortality or anything
Yeah,
else. I just wanted to
yeah,
entertain people, And so to
yeah,
have my oldest son be so selfless to want to help others and, not only with the fire,
yeah,
but he's also in the Air Force Reserve, so he's in the military as well. It makes me just so incredibly proud that, he went that route. Again, you just want to see your kids happy doing what makes them happy and what they love to do. And that's exactly what Brantley's doing. And I'm so happy for
yeah.
that. And I'm happy that he's, started a wonderful family as well with Savannah. And they have just an adorable son that
Yes.
we love so much, who's, just been such a joy to watch grow up. And thank goodness for
Mhm.
technology like FaceTime. Savannah's always great about FaceTiming us. So even though we're
Totally.
not there physically, we get that FaceTime still with
Mhm.
our grandson, which is really nice.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations, you guys, on
Thank
starting your
you.
family. That's amazing. It's seriously incredible. And yeah, Jay, all of your kids are so amazing and doing so well. And you guys, if you could say anything to someone, people in your similar situation, so maybe maybe someone whose parent or loved one's going through it, maybe a spouse of a caregiver or a spouse of someone whose loved one is going through it. What advice would you give, or what would you want to tell them? Did anything surprise you? What has, been the most helpful? I know we touched a lot on the village, but is there any other advice you would have for people in your shoes?
I would say initially it's going to be hard again because you just don't know. It's, I like to have a routine myself. And when things get outside of a routine, I really dislike it. I always am trying to fight back to whatever routine I can create out of anything because it makes me feel better. I would say initially it is going to feel like you're free falling, whether it's you, a loved one, whoever it may be, somebody that you know, or even something that you see on TV. Just know that it's okay to feel that way, but make a plan going forward and just continue to keep fighting it because that's really the only way. A lot of times is the hard way is just straight through. And with this, that's, there's no shortcuts. I mean, there's different options that you can have, but really it's going to be you busting through a brick wall. And that's what you got to do every single day. So it's okay. Again, initially cope with it however you need to, but kind of pull up your boots a little bit, the bootstraps, and just really get to it and make a plan and just don't really deviate away from that plan and just keep going forward.
That's great advice. And I've definitely heard your dad say that quote before about having to go straight through some. He has taught me so many of those things. Yeah, I love it. No, it's such a help. It's so true and really does actually help to think that way in so many situations. So thank you for that. And Savannah, what about you? What about for someone who is on your side of things and dealing with a family member of your own whose family is going through this? What would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say you're going to feel helpless. You're going to feel a little removed. I know I am a wonderful part of this family, but I am not a full biological child of Jay. So being in the room and hearing those words, it was heartbreaking. But at the same time, it was hard for me because I felt helpless and a little removed. So for me, it was coming up with how can I be supportive? And that's what I would recommend to people in similar shoes to me or just in general, really looking at the situation and finding ways how you can help, whether that's doing things actually for the person or being a positive light. I mean, Jay is the most inspirational cancer person I've ever met in my life. Way positive than anyone that I've ever met going through a similar situation. So trying to add positivity is a little tough. He will one up you with the positivity.
Literally.
Yeah. Trying to in those ways to keep it positive and help. It was hilarious for me going through some of these things with Jay. I was pregnant at the time and in my first trimester, and he had his nausea popsicles trying to get rid of the nausea from his chemo. And I was sitting on the floor eating crackers because I was super nauseous as well. The entire first trimester pretty much was me and Jay going through it together with the same symptoms.
That's incredible. Wow. Oh my gosh, solidarity. You guys had each other during that nausea. My gosh.
We absolutely
That's so funny. I hate and love that for you.
It was amazing. But really just finding ways to be that support or find some positivity and some fun going through a tough situation. So my advice would just be really look at your situation, see what you can do to help. If you can take up the household chores or start cooking or a meal train or GoFundMe, any of those things are so helpful. But then also just knowing you can be a little bit of a positive light too and find some humor, throw some dad jokes in there and just really do your best to support in any way that you can, because you are going to be feeling a little removed, a little helpless, but finding those little things that you can do is really positive.
I think that's great advice. And it sounds like right from the jump, you absolutely did that. It sounds like you've been so helpful and supportive. I've heard nothing but amazing things. Especially, I keep forgetting the timing of that. Man, you were going through your pregnancy, still being that helpful. Good for you. That is incredible. And I think that's amazing advice. And I couldn't agree more about just Jay's positivity and also just the humor. I mean, the amount of times we just end up cracking up on this recording, just being like talking about the darkest things and just laughing. And I wouldn't want it any other way. And I can imagine it
You
just
got to
makes
do it.
makes every day a little brighter.
That's right.
Is there anything else you guys would like to add or jump in with before we wrap it up? I'm so grateful that you guys came and did this, and it's such a treat for the listeners as well. Anything you want to mention?
No,
Say, Jay, any questions?
great.
No, I'm just thankful. Again, I can't stress it enough. And I think the audience will probably start to see this as well is, I hit the lottery with blessings in terms of an amazing family and friends and support. And so I think it might be easier for people to understand why I am as positive as I am, because when you've got an amazing group of people around you like I do, it does make things a whole lot easier. There's no question about that. And it's a nice escapism as well, to where you can again go back to feeling like yourself, not a cancer patient, which is always so important to be able to do. So I'm forever blessed and grateful for Brantley and Savannah and for the kids and Kathy and that support. It just means a lot. It really does.
Yeah. Oh, I love your family. And I'm so glad I've gotten now to speak to you guys and to your sister. And obviously I know Parker, and it totally makes sense where all this comes from. And it's so cool to see all of you guys and get to know you both.
And they all have different personalities. And one day we'll get Alexis on here and you'll see she has a very different personality.
Yes. Yes, I can imagine. Yes, you all are different and still just coming from that positive, amazing way that you were raised, Jay, that you're now passing down to your kids and that you guys are now passing down to your kids. It's amazing to watch. I love it so much. And I'm grateful to be a part of this journey as another fellow second daughter to, Jay's.
Oh,
That's right.
As a fellow, we're actually sisters, Savannah. I guess that means you're also my brother, Brantley, because I too am Jay's daughter. It is so beautiful being in the Williams family.
And you found your way to help with this too. So you were the removed slightly in the family person, and look at you. I mean, this podcast is amazing. It's going to help so many people, and you're an amazing part of it.
Thank you so much. No, that was literally the least I could do. That was exactly my contribution. I was like, I don't know what I can do, but I can definitely do things that have to do with media. So let's go.
I can tell the story.
And it's also so fun to be able to actually just talk to you every week, Jay. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like one of those silver linings that you were mentioning earlier about just having more time with family and spending more intentional time. I mean, I could not be more grateful that I get to see you every single week and have a chat and talk about life and deep things and talk about what's on the news and talk about weird things that happen to us and talk about how there's bugs in my apartment. Like, we're always talking about everything. And I'm so grateful for that time.
Awesome.
You guys, thank you so much again. This is an amazing episode. Thank you, listeners who are tuning in, and make sure to follow the podcast on Spotify. That, I guess, really helps us. And all the links below, you can find all the information that you could possibly want. So thank you so much, and we will catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Amazing.